I've been driving down
Welcome back
this
to Vibe
back
Podcast's
road,
Conspiracy
chasing
Club.
my
Today we're
mistakes.
discussing a potential Fugal
Trying
building
to
shooter, a
find
topic researched for us by David
redemption in the
Morgan.
choices
I'm joined by Charles and Angela.
Good day, Alice. Charles here, former British copper, spent many years dealing with firearms incidents, so I'm keen to delve into the practicalities of this scenario.
And I'm Angela, a mathematician. My interest, of course, lies in the numbers, the ballistics, the time of arrival, and how those calculations inform our understanding of events like these.
Excellent. So, Charles, Angela, our previous discussions in Conspiracy Club touched on the possibility of a very specific type of round being used in the killing of Charlie Kirk on September 10, 2025. We were looking for a unique situation, the sound of a powerful .3006 Mauser, but the impact of a much smaller .22 bullet, potentially tumbling to create a larger entry wound. A Remington accelerator, to be precise.
Indeed, Alice, that's a fascinating, and frankly, rather unusual combination for a professional hit. To achieve both the sonic signature of a large caliber round and the specific, damaging wound profile of a small, destabilized projectile suggests a very deliberate choice of ammunition. It screams of someone wanting to mask the true nature of the shot.
From a physics perspective, it presents a fascinating problem. You're essentially dealing with two distinct ballistic profiles wrapped into one. The initial launch and sound signature of a larger cartridge, but then the flight and terminal ballistics of a much lighter, smaller projectile. The math to reconcile those two would be quite complex to predict precisely without extensive testing.
And the initial suspected location, the Lozay roof, was apparently ruled out by Charlie's own security team. Harpole, his head of security, even sent an image to Charlie indicating it was a very narrow window of opportunity, as he put it.
That's critical information. Security teams, especially for high-profile individuals, conduct thorough sweeps and threat assessments. If they've actively tested a position and deemed it unsuitable, it usually means it doesn't offer the necessary line of sight, concealment, or escape route for a shooter. A narrow window often means it's either too exposed or the shot itself is too difficult to guarantee. It forces us to look elsewhere.
Yes, if the Lozay roof is out, then we absolutely need a new geographic location that still satisfies the ballistic requirements for that Remington accelerator round, specifically, the observed bullet velocity and impact characteristics at the target. The time of arrival of the sound wave versus the projectile's impact would be key to corroborating any new location.
And that's where David Morgan's research comes in. He looked for another rooftop, and his findings point to some interesting aerial activity. On the morning of September 10, 2025, a jet flew tight arcs, photographing the UVU campus. Two roofs became apparent: the Lozay roof, which we've just discussed, and the Fugal roof.
The Fugal roof. Now, this is where it gets interesting from an operational standpoint. David notes an HVAC unit with a newly built wall around it, possibly early 2025. It immediately flags as a potential sniper's nest. A shooter needs cover, concealment, and a stable platform. An HVAC enclosure, especially with a new wall, provides exactly that: a place to set up, take the shot, and potentially hide or escape unnoticed. It's a textbook location for an ambush.
And what's crucial is that the Fugal roof also aligns with the ballistic requirements. David's research indicates that the high edge of the Fugal roof provided a TOA, or time of arrival, of 129 milliseconds with a bullet speed of 2,500 feet per second. This is a crucial match for the Kirk location, confirming the theoretical viability of a Remington accelerator round traveling at that velocity, over that specific distance.
So, we'd have a Remington accelerator, traveling at 2,500 feet per second, taking 129 milliseconds to reach the target, and importantly, a tumbling bullet. But what about the accuracy issues associated with these rounds?
That's a critical point, Alice. While the velocity was consistent, the accuracy problems with the accelerator rounds stemmed from several design flaws. Firstly, the plastic sabot, or sabot, the sleeve that holds the smaller .22 bullet within the larger cartridge, gripped the bullet inconsistently. Secondly, when the sabot separated from the bullet, about 14 inches from the muzzle, that release was often at slightly different angles each time.
Which, from a shooter's perspective, translates to a greater degree of uncertainty. You aim for the bullseye, but the bullet might go a few inches off due to these unpredictable variables.
Precisely, Charles. And a major factor was the lack of direct rifling engagement. The rifling in the barrel spun the sabot, not the bullet directly. So when the sabot separated, the .22 bullet itself wasn't consistently spun, or didn't have the same rotational stability. This led to what we call bullet yaw or tumbling onset occurring at different distances, sometimes as close as 50 yards, even with a consistent muzzle velocity. It explains how you could get that erratic, tumbling impact, causing a larger wound, despite a high initial speed.
So it truly was a weapon system with inherent quirks that could produce these specific, seemingly contradictory effects.
It seems designed to deceive, doesn't it? A large caliber sound to intimidate, or perhaps to suggest a more powerful weapon than was actually used to inflict the specific injury. Very calculated.
And the data points we have for the Fugal roof location, particularly the TOA and bullet speed, provide the mathematical framework to support that this scenario is entirely plausible from an engineering and ballistic standpoint. We may the right shooter's nest just not have the right shooter.
That's all for today. A big thank you to our guest researcher, David Morgan, for providing our topic.
I've been driving down this back road, chasing my mistakes, trying to find redemption in the choices that I make. Every mile reminds me of the love I couldn't hold. Every scar's a story, every tear's a piece of gold. And I swore